If you like interesting cars, you're gonna bloody love this one, people. It's the Renault Duster. It's called a Dacia in other markets, but here, this Romanian-built vehicle is offering something very interesting. You've got front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive and a manual gearbox. And in this review, I'm gonna tell you what's good about it, the pricing and specs that you need to know, what could be better about it, and also the best alternatives. So thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and let's check out the Duster. This car has been on the radar for Australia for a very long time, and I think that the pricing and spec is pretty impressive. Although, like I said, it is a bit peculiar in that you can have it with a front-wheel drive dual clutch automatic version or all-wheel drive with a manual gearbox. And I'll put the pricing for both versions on your screen as we go through. There are two variants to pick from. The entry-level one is called Evolution, and it does come with a decent amount of standard spec, but it is missing a few features that you might expect at the kind of cash that's being asked. So, standard, you're getting LED daytime running lights, but halogen high beam lights. You get 17-inch alloy wheels, roof rails. You don't get proximity unlocking or a little button on the door to unlock the car for you. You have to actually use the key, press the button on the key and then turn the key in the ignition. It's a bit old school, but it also gets cloth seat trim on the inside, and it's not missing anything when it comes to the expected tech. So you've got a 7-inch digital instrument cluster, a 10.1-inch infotainment screen with wired and wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. There's wireless smartphone charging, a 6-speaker sound system, dual zone climate control, and you're getting a leather steering wheel with height and reach adjust, an electronic park brake, auto wipers, and in the 4x4 model, you're getting hill descent control and off-road modes. And then if you step up to the Techno grade, you'll get a few extra features, including that keyless entry and push-button start, and 18-inch alloy wheels, auto high beam lights, plus a two-tone interior finish, blind spot monitoring, a multi-view camera system, front parking sensors, privacy glass on the rear windows, plus modular roof rails and a split level boot floor in the 4x2 versions like this one. So, what do you think about the pricing? I think it's pretty good, but let me tell you some alternatives that you might want to consider if you are shopping for something that's rugged looking and maybe with some actual rugged capability. There are dozens of different small SUVs that you might consider as opposed to this, but I'm just going to call out a few interesting ones. Firstly, the Suzuki Jimny. In fact, the 5-door XL version is properly capable. It's a 4-seater only, so that might be an issue for some, but it's actually super duper capable when it comes to the off-road stuff. You can get it with manual or auto transmissions, and while the engine is a bit of a dud, it is a pretty impressive thing. It gets blown around a little bit in the wind, and it might not be for everyone, but it is a small SUV with off-road capability. That's what you want. It could be the best choice you could make. Another option, if you don't need off-road capability and you just want a really small SUV with a really small price, is the Chery Tiggo 4. It starts at 24 grand drive away, and it's very impressive for that kind of cash. Spend 3 grand more, you'll get some features that you might expect in a $50,000 car, but maybe not in a $27,000 car. It is really impressive, the Tiggo 4. In a lot of ways, it's not the best thing to drive, and it does have some annoying features, but honestly, for the cash, it stacks up all right. And my final alternative to this is a very intriguing one, the Jeep Avenger. It's a fully electric compact SUV. It's front wheel drive and it does have a boxy design. It is trading on that Jeep branding, and honestly, it might not suit everyone. The range is not great and it does have some interesting quirks, but I do think that it's a fantastic value proposition at 40 grand drive away for a fully electric model. You'll spend less if you shop around as well. There are some cheaper versions running around in the demo lots. So what would you do? Choose any of those? Choose this or something else? Have your say in the comments. Rightio, let's have a look at the Duster in a bit more detail from the exterior element. Now, this is the 2-wheel drive version, and interestingly, it has significantly less ground clearance because of this front bumper design. Now, on the 4x4 models, it gets a different front bumper, which makes them more off-road capable with better ground clearance. I'll put the dimensions that you need to know. It's in the sweet spot for small SUVs, just under 4.4 meters long on a long wheelbase as well, and not too wide, not too tall. This one also gets the clever roof rack system. So up above here, you'll see there are some bolts. You can unbolt these and then make them crossbars if you prefer. So you've actually got some practicality. You've got the high mount rear door handle for the back doors, but look, that might be an issue for shorter kids who are keen to let themselves in and out of the car. And also call out on this part here, you can see right there, the recycle symbol. So it's got a lot of recycled plastics around the bottom edges of the car, which, I mean, in theory is good because it means they'll be a little bit cheaper to replace, hopefully. Now, at the rear, I think it's a very tidy looking piece of design. And I also like the fact that there's no massive chrome badging. It's just a sticker for the Duster badge, and well, the Renault badge is right there. Proud. Now, no electric tailgate. Does that matter? I don't think so. It is a budget-friendly car. This one does have a matte fitted, another recycled plastic finish, and it's also got some really great features in the back here. So you've got a cargo cover as you would expect. There are some shopping bag hooks. There's this little light system, which is actually really nifty. You can pull them out if you don't want them. Your jack is there. On this side, more lights, a 12-volt port, and a little, I guess you could use that for extra storage for bags. Now this one is the top spec 2-wheel drive version, so it gets the clever partition-y boot thing, which is actually pretty handy. Underneath the boot floor, there's also a full width spare wheel. It's not an alloy wheel, but it is a full sizer basically. So that means that, well, you won't have to run around with a space saver on. And I'll also show you the cargo capacity numbers on your screen. So there is a bit of a difference when it comes to the 4x2 and 4x4 models, but this is a pretty clever boot space and a well-packaged car. But let's check out the interior and see what it's like. All right, let's have a look at the interior. First and foremost, I want to call out the fact that you do have quite a sort of small windscreen to see out of. So it does have a high dashboard, and obviously you can see the bonnet there. So it's maybe not as boxy feeling as you might be expecting it's going to be. Also like the little Renault Duster there, as you can see. And look, I think also the interior design here is pretty interesting. It's different to other cars in some ways, like the fact that it doesn't have any soft materials up here. That's sort of hard stuff. It's all hard wearing materials. You do have soft elbow pads on the front doors, but above there it's all sort of easy to wipe material finishes. And again, this two-tone seat finish is maybe not as primo as you might hope it would be, but I think it feels pretty nice and it looks pretty good too. And above you've got this very interesting headliner, which is like a grey tracksuit material almost, if that makes sense. Now you get halogen lights. You don't get an auto dimming rear view mirror, which is maybe a bit disappointing. And you've got some flip down visors, as you would expect. They don't extend out, but you do get a vanity mirror, no illumination, and a ticket holder for your parking. And I do think that, well, some of the elements, as you can see, might be a little bit low rent for the price, but I do like that you get a leather-lined steering wheel. And I do like this 7-inch display in front of the driver. It obviously has a bit more stuff on it when the car's up and running. As you can see, you've got digital speedo, you've got a speed sign recognition system, and thankfully it doesn't seem to be too annoying. And you've also got this touchscreen media system over here. Now, the fact that you don't have a volume dial is maybe a little bit annoying, but there are some buttons up above for your volume control, so you can actually use those triggers and that one there to do some other home controls as well. And I mean, if you didn't know they were there, you wouldn't know they were there, if that makes sense. But you've also got wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and it's pretty quick to respond to commands, this screen. I like it so far, and I also like that you do have some interesting displays available to you. You can have a look at your camera view if you want to. It's not the most high-res camera, as you can see, but it'll do the job. It'll help you park, and I guess that's all you really need it to do. You can go in here and adjust some things in your driving assistance if you do want to make some changes, whether it's parking stuff or your comfort or your safety tech. So that's all pretty good. The home screen has a few menu options as well. You do have AM, FM, and digital radio, which is great. And here we'll go back and look, it's not the most complex setup, this screen. I think that's okay. And also you do have a control panel down here for your air conditioning stuff, but you've also got trigger switches and actual controls for the climate and the air, where it's going. And also your recirc button is there. You've got an auto button if you want it to just be auto, and demisters as well. So the fact that you've got an array of buttons available to you, or you can use the panel there at the bottom of the screen, well, that's all good stuff. Now down below, there's a little storage tray, which is a bit slippery, so just be mindful of that. You've got USB-C ports and a 12 volt, a wireless phone charger, standard, nice. There's a little tray there as well, which is handy, rubberized. And this one here, I mean, I don't know what that's for really. That's your gear selector, by the way, park button. You've got a pair of decent sized cup holders there, a decent sized center console bin too. That's got a soft elbow pad as well. And glove box, well, it's there. It's not the biggest, obviously. You've got bottle holders in the doors. So the practicality elements in the cabin here are pretty good. Maybe not as well equipped as some other cars, but I think it's okay. Now, the controls on the steering wheel are something that you have to get used to. It's a French car after all, so there are a number of controls on both sides there, and you've got paddle shifters as well. And there's also here a little media stalk that comes off the steering column with volume and source controls. So that's all something that you'll get used to. There's some buttons over here too, as you can see, your eco mode and a button to turn things off if you don't want the safety stuff on, which is great. Oh, and your park brake is down there. So you do have a park button where your gear selector is, but there's an electric park brake over there. Now, it's a small SUV, but is it small in the second row? Let's check it out. Okay, this seat is set for my driving position. I'm 6 foot tall. My knees are touching the seat ahead. My shins are as well. Good foot room though, which is great. And headroom is also pretty good in the back here. So it should fit most people who aren't more than 6 foot tall, but yeah, I think it'll be all right. So you've got overhead grab handles. You don't get one for the driver, but you do for everyone else. There's lights in the back, and look, there's map pockets on both seat backs. You've also got this removable cup holder gizmo here, and down there you'll see there's USB-C ports. You've also got directional air vents, which is great. There's a bit of a transmission tunnel intrusion, and it will be tight for 3 across, but that's just how it is. And in this high grade version, you get this device holder thingy as well. Now, the door pockets, they're small, but that's okay, I guess, and hard plastic all the way down, which is not amazing. And when it comes to your other amenities back here, well, the reason you've got a removable little cup holder thing there is because you don't have a drop down armrest with cup holders here. There are 3 top tethers and ISOFIX points in the window seats, so you should be able to take care of the kiddos, maybe not 3 across in seats, I wouldn't think. And one other thing though, the view out for kids in car seats might be a little bit compromised by the window line. It does sort of rake up quite a bit at the back. So if your kiddo is car seat prone, it might not be right for you, but I do think that still it's a pretty comfy backseat experience, if a little tight. As I've said, you've got a couple of different powertrain options available in the Duster lineup. The entry-level front-wheel drive petrol is a 1.3 litre turbo-petrol 4-cylinder with 113 kilowatts, 270 newton meters. That's plenty of grunt for a small SUV, with a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission, front-wheel drive, as I said, and with torsion beam rear suspension. If you want a more sophisticated suspension setup, the 4x4 version, which is all-wheel drive, does give you multi-link independent rear suspension, but it also gives you a different engine, a 1.2 litre turbo-petrol 3-cylinder engine with mild hybrid assistance. It has 96 kilowatts and 230 newton meters, so still plenty of grunt, but as I said, 6-speed manual and all-wheel drive. How about that? An interesting combo in 2025. And if you're wondering about towing capacity, I'll put some numbers on your screen so you can see this car does have some well, surprising practicality to it. Now let's go drive it and see what it's like. This won't be my full detailed usual drive where I go and do urban and stop start and highway and freeway. I'm at Lang Lang in Victoria, which is the proving ground where they used to make Holdens really, really great. And it's designed to showcase a whole mix of bad Aussie roads, especially the ride and handling loop that I'm on right now. And I mean, French cars typically are very, very good in terms of the ride comfort, the body control, because, well, they have to deal with things like cobblestones, and some French roads aren't fantastic. And let me tell you, there's some Aussie roads that sure as shit aren't fantastic. But this car instantly feels very, very at home on these simulated surfaces, which do sort of showcase what you will expect to find across the Australian countryside. And the ride comfort is really excellent, and the steering is light, like super light, but still feels pretty nimble and agile when you change direction. Like, you don't have to turn the steering wheel much for it to pivot quite a bit. And honestly, I think this is a very nice driving car. And then there's the engine and the transmission. So this one is the turbo-petrol with the dual clutch automatic transmission. So it's the front wheel drive. And I mean, for urban customers who are just looking for a city SUV that looks a bit rough and tumble, this one's going to be fairly amenable, I would say. I'll just simulate a bit of a stop here at this railway line. So yeah, let's just pretend we're stopping here over the railway tracks. And look, you do have to contend with a little bit of torque steer, which is because it's got so much pulling power, it can sort of tug the wheel a little bit at times when you're hard on the accelerator. I wasn't that hard on the accelerator then, but it is noticeable. But for me, it makes it involving and enjoyable. And I really like the charm of this car. It's got charisma, let's say. The dual clutch automatic transmission does also have paddle shifters. So if you want to, you can take matters into your own hands, downshift, and up we go. Shifts are pretty quick. It's not amazingly fast, but I think it's all right. And at low speeds, I guess the big consideration with dual clutches is whether there's much lag to contend with. So let's do another little stop here. Yep. I mean, there's a little bit of lag to contend with, but not much. There's heaps of torque. That's the thing. It just feels effortless in terms of the grunt. Now, there are some other considerations here. On coarse chip road surfaces, which there are plenty of in Australia, you can get quite a bit of road noise intrusion, but thankfully it's not too bad in terms of the wind noise or anything like that. Driving the manual, or 3-cylinder thrummer. How good. Yeah, I'm a weirdo. I love 3-cylinder engines and I love manual gearboxes, so this car is right up my alley. The fact that it's got all-wheel drive as well is a huge bonus, because it means that, well, you've got a bit more practicality and usability if you are going to be going adventuring, and it can go further off-road than you might expect. It does have some pretty decent underpinnings to be able to cope with rough and tumble situations, but even on just regular country roads like I'm driving on right now, it is feeling like it's got great traction available. And I mean, this is the entry-level grade with the 17-inch wheel and tyre pack, so yeah, it's doing pretty good, I gotta say, and I like it. I really like it, people. If you like manuals, I think you're gonna like this car. If you like 3-cylinder engines, I think you're gonna like this car. Now, obviously, you probably need to figure out what it's gonna be like to live with in traffic. There's no traffic on this road I'm on because I'm at Lang Lang, but the clutch take-up point on this car is quite high, so it's a bit hard to judge, but I'm sure you'll get used to it. And it's got a very long throw action to the gear lever, but it's lovely. I mean, if you love manuals and you love 3-cylinders, it's lovely, but it's not going to be for everyone. The auto is going to be the easier choice for most people. So long as you don't need to go off-roading properly, then hey, it'll be perfectly fine. All right, there's a few numbers to consider in this section of the video, so I'll put them on screen so you can see for yourself the official combined cycle figures for the dual clutch front wheel drive version. You'll see that on screen now. And also for the manual all-wheel drive version, it's on screen too. So I think really it is pretty impressive in terms of the claimed fuel consumption numbers. And while this test hasn't been necessarily representative of what I usually do when I'm doing a full review, I'll show you what I've seen on the screen, on your screen now, for the automatic version, because it's the one I spent the most time in. So really, I think it's pretty impressive. And when it comes to the fuel requirement, just keep this in mind. This auto version can run on regular 91 unleaded, but you need to put premium in the manual version. So that might be a bit of a concern for some. And fuel tank capacity, there's a bit of difference between the two models, as you'll see on screen now too. So look, there's obviously going to be people who go for the manual, and there's going to be more who go for the auto. And I think either way, you're getting a pretty convincing small SUV drive experience. In the early days, Dacia was about building cars on existing platforms to make them more affordable, and that meant typically they didn't have as much safety stuff as new models for more money. Now, this car is a more affordable option than some, and it does have less safety tech in some ways compared to newer models and even cheaper models in the market, but it does also have a lower safety rating than you might be hoping for. There's a 3-star Euro NCAP rating for this SUV, and it hasn't been put through the ANCAP testing yet, but it probably will score similar. We'll have to wait and see. But the fact is that it's still got heaps of standard safety tech that will potentially save you and your family if something isn't right. So you've got autonomous emergency braking. There's a lane keeping assistance feature as well. There's adaptive cruise control. There's a speed sign recognition system. It's not too annoying, thankfully. There is no annoying driver monitoring camera system, which is a bonus in my mind. And you also get a reversing camera and rear parking sensors as standard on the base grade. If you step up to the high grade version, you will get extra safety technology and goodies, including a multi-camera view system, plus front parking sensors. And if you step up to the high grade, you also get blind spot monitoring. You really should probably get that on the base grade though. Now, when it comes to airbags, there's 6 fitted to this vehicle, not as many as some of the other new cars out there. So there's dual front side, and curtain coverage for both rows of seats, but no front center airbag and no driver's knee airbag. I'd love to know what you think. Have your say in the comments. Would the safety spec rule this car out for you? Personally, for me, I still think that it ticks the box. Renault Australia offers a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty for its model range, and there's also 5 years of free roadside assistance included when you purchase a new Renault, which is nice. Now, servicing, there's some interesting considerations here, people. The service intervals for this vehicle are 12 months and 30,000 kilometres. I don't think I would be leaving my small French turbo-petrol car to run 30,000 Ks without maintenance, but that's what the paperwork states. And there's also a capped price servicing plan. You'll see the pricing on average over the capped price plan on your screen now. And you can prepay for a service package if you want to, which will give you 5 years of coverage for basic maintenance. It does seem to stack up pretty well from the ownership perspective. I guess really the biggest consideration for this car and all new cars could be the resale value, especially if you buy a manual one. I really like this Renault Duster. I think it's a cool small SUV, and there aren't many of those in the market in my opinion. This one's practical, it's pretty well priced, it's comfortable, and there is that manual gearbox, which is a nice sweetener for those who are longing for the old stick shift. But what would you do? Would you choose this over its alternatives? Do you think the price is right? Have your say in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you when I see you.